Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my review of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, the Netflix original Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead movie. It just released on Friday. I'm recording this as of Sunday, about the Sunday on which it came out. So, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder, if people don't know this, a lot of people do, some people do. Zack Snyder, like, one of the best Zack Snyder movies, probably maybe his best movie, if we're being honest. Well, maybe not his best movie. I think 300 is probably Zack Snyder's best movie. That's the irony about a lot of the shit I get, is people are convinced that I don't like Zack Snyder. I don't like Zack Snyder touching DC. The Snyderverse, DCverse, that's what I'm against. But Zack Snyder in general, I love 300. I think 300 is fantastic. Yeah, it's not the most complex, it's not the most, complicated thing I've ever seen, but I think visually, stylistically, the fight sequences, all of it, the way it looks, it's appropriate slow motion because it's going for that epic kind of a scale. It's going for that epicness, and the way he designed it, it's one of Gerard Butler's best roles. 300 is a great movie to me. I love 300. I enjoyed 300. I really much enjoyed his Watchmen. I didn't think his Watchmen was perfect. I think it had a couple problems, I think that it had a couple problems because it was more like, because when you read the graphic novel is a lot more complicated than his rendition of it. And he made a bunch of stylistic and weird choices. That sex scene with the Hallelujah music playing was a bit weird. Other than a couple things that I really didn't like about that movie, I rather still enjoyed Watchmen. If I had to give that movie a rating, I would have given it a 7.5. I still enjoyed Watchmen. I still thought that was a pretty decent movie. And as much as I don't like Man of Steel, the further away I get from it, the further, and maybe it's just in comparison to some of the other stuff he's made, the further away I get from Man of Steel, the more I'm like, you know what? I still don't think it's good, but I don't think it's bad either. I don't think it's bad anymore. I think it's okay. I've gone all the way up to okay with Man of Steel. But the movie that he really what's the word I'm looking for? The movie that really got him in the spotlight was this Dawn of the Dead movie. Great zombie movie. I think Dawn of the Dead's one of the best zombie movies of all time. Dawn of the Dead's a great zombie movie. It really captures a lot of what the zombie apocalypse would be. Just the shock and all of it, and the craziness, the just out of nowhereness of it. Honestly, when you watch Dawn of the Dead, it doesn't feel like it's looking back at it now, it doesn't feel like it's directed by Zack Snyder, because it doesn't have the visual style. There's more sunlight in it. There's more brightness to it. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have his visual style. There's not a lot of slow motion in it. Like I said, that's the movie he kind of got his bones on, that kind of got him noticed, and I really enjoyed Dawn of the Dead. I think Dawn of the Dead's probably one of his best zombie movies. So when you hear Zack Snyder's gonna make a movie Army of the Dead, you got, in my mind, I'm like, well, fuck. I like Dawn of the Dead. I really enjoyed Dawn of the Dead. I think Dawn of the Dead is one of the best, zombie movies of all time. If you're keeping track, I just said there are 3 Zack Snyder movies that I bona fide like. It's just they don't exist in the DCEU because there is no Zack Snyder movie that's good in the DCEU. But I digress. I was thinking to myself when I heard about this is where Zack Snyder belongs. This is where he belongs. Outside of DC and shit and comic books, get away from that shit. This is where he belongs. He belongs in the zombie world, and other graphic novels, other shit, that this is where he belongs. And I will admit, I was both underwhelmed, but you know what? Okay, Army of the Dead is not as good as Dawn of the Dead. It just isn't. He did a much better job with Dawn of the Dead. But Dawn of the Dead seems like that was one of those cases of he hadn't yet figured out his style of what he was going for yet. So Dawn of the Dead was able to just kind of be like, because you look at Dawn of the Dead, you would tell me, if you look at Dawn of the Dead, you would not know it was directed by Zack Snyder. There's only a couple scenes that would even make you think that. Whereas Army of the Dead, you know it's directed by Zack Snyder from just the Jump Street. Just Jump Street. The way it's shot, the way it's done, you know this is Zack Snyder. First of all, this movie has a litany of problems. But overall, I would give this movie, I'm going to just start off top with the rating I would give it. I would give Army of the Dead a 6. Maybe a 5.5. 6. I'd give it a 6. And Seth, I tried to show Seth this movie the other day. He couldn't get through it. The problem with this movie is it's stupid. It is one of the stupidest films I've ever seen. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's not quite as stupid. No, it's really, you know what it is? It's stupider than Mortal Kombat. You know, guys, though, I gave Mortal Kombat a 2. It's stupider than Mortal Kombat, and it's sort of stupid, and it's on the same par with Kong vs. Godzilla in terms of, if you think about anything in this movie, it won't make a lick of sense. There are characters, there are motivations, there are things in it that are just hammed in. There's a character that was apparently CGI'd in, and when you hear that, that's all I can see now. Every one of these characters are just cliche, you know, characters. Even the way the apocalypse ends up happening was a bit silly and stupid. Didn't really make a lot of logical sense. But nothing really makes a lot of logical sense in this entire movie. Which the reason, and I know what you're thinking, well, why don't you hate the movie? Why aren't you giving it a 6? Unlike Seth, the reason I could kind of roll with it is because it's apparent in the movie that Zack Snyder, that he knows it's ridiculous, that they know it's ridiculous, that they know it doesn't make sense, that they know it's ridiculous, and since they're rolling with it, it sort of does allow me to loosen up and go, okay, well, I can't go at this movie but so hard because it's self-aware of how ridiculous and stupid it is, so, but I can't ignore that it's ridiculous and stupid. So I kind of ended up coming to an even ground where I was like, well, I'm still enjoying, not enjoying myself, but I'm not bored at what I'm seeing. I'm watching it, I'm not bored, it's going, you know, sure, there are things that are said and things that are done that don't make a lick of sense. For instance, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing for you, but but everybody knows in a zombie movie, that there is a character who is going to fuck it up for everyone. One singular character who's either unstable or emotional or litany of things. They're not there for they're there for some other reasons. Everyone knows that there's a character in a zombie movie that's going to fuck it up for a variety of reasons. They identified who that character was going to be. Actually, almost paused the movie to talk about that this character is this, and then kept going forward, and then when said character started doing things that screwed them, it was like, what, you guys knew this character was gonna do these things, and you just got over it. There's a the father-daughter subplot that's just like, meh. There's a love subplot that comes out of nowhere, and in the end, nothing ends up getting done. So I'm gonna just set up, well, you know what, I just realized I haven't really told you what the Army of the Dead's about. Army of the Dead's about, virus breaks out in Las Vegas. Vegas is taken over. This is one of those quick turning viruses, by the way. This is one of those viruses where people turn like almost, like at the moment they die, they hit the ground, they're back up like a couple seconds later. It's one of those quick turns. So Vegas is being turned into zombies. Everyone in Vegas is being turned into zombies. It's it's like people all over the place. And the government comes up with this idea. They build a wall around Vegas to seal in all the zombies. They get out as many people as they can before they build the wall. And Dave Bautista's character, who's the main character, him and a couple other people who were in the situation, they were like people who were rescuing people. There were people who were going in there rescuing people. But but clearly it didn't all work out the way they wanted it to. But so they're soldiers. They're basically soldiers of fortune. They're soldiers who went in there to save lives, and they didn't get anything for it. Because you find Dave Bautista's character. It doesn't say how long it's been, but I'm gonna say a year, maybe a year, 2. I want to say a year or 2, because I don't think they distinctly say how long it's been in the movie. But it's a year or 2 later. He's flipping patties, and he gets this extravagant Japanese man in a nice suit comes to him and asks him, "Do you want to do a job?" There's $200 million in a vault under a casino. It was a casino that I owned, so it's my money. They reimbursed me my money already because I had insurance on it, but the money's still there and just ready to be taken. So you go in there, steal $200 million of the money, get out $200 million of the money. I'll give you $50 million. I'll give you $50 million of the money to split up with your crew. You assemble your crew. I'll give you the layout. You guys go into there, steal the money, get out. So it's a heist movie in a zombie environment, which, that's why I watched it. I watched the movie because the concept seemed kind of cool. It seemed kind of, that seemed like a fun concept. A heist. Like, you have to go into this zombie area to steal something. That sounded cool. And for the most part, and they were cool. The thing about it is, You know the rest. Like, shit goes south, you know. I don't want to spoil it for you. Like I said, it just came out. But like I said, this movie has a litany of problems. One being how long it is. It should, like, this... Nobody should ever make a 2-hour and 30-minute zombie movie. like what? Like apparently Zack Snyder is just like, it has to be super freaking long for me to get to my point. Like, I cannot tell a story in 2 hours. I have to have 2 hours and 50 freaking minutes because I can't get to my point. But I digress. There's only one relationship in this movie that is genuine. Everything else is just kind of cookie cutter. The characters are cookie cutter. The plot, like, once you started getting to the zombie mechanics, it's just, you know, typical zombie shit. Like I said, dude, there's nothing really special about this movie. It's funny, but there's nothing really special about the movie. It's funny at times, but the only okay, I'll take it back. The action is cool. When it hits, it hits. It's cool action. Kind of makes me wish that it was like something else. Problem is, like, for a long chunk of it, there's no action going on, and it just kind of spurts out near the... It's like action in the beginning, it spurts out in the tail end, and, like, there are things that are mentioned that never come back. Like, and now I'm hearing he's trying to set up a universe with this, and I'm just like, man, like, could you, like, it was, like, the problem is, this is a heist movie where the heist is, like, by the time it gets to the end, you just feel like you wasted your time. Like I said, I don't want to spoil it for you. By the time I got to the end of this movie, I just felt like, well, what the fuck was the point? No one's gonna, like, what the hell was the point? Like, it doesn't even matter near the end. It didn't even matter. While the daughter was there, like, spoiler alert, the daughter goes, Dave Bautista's daughter goes in here for a certain reason. That doesn't matter, because in the end, that person she's going in there for dies. So, like I said, this movie it has some entertainment value to it. I think it has some entertainment value to it as this silly, over-the-top, stupid movie. But generally speaking, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's not like, it's just stupid. Sometimes stupid is what stupid does, and this movie is really just stupid. And the only saving grace of this movie really is that it's self-awareness of how stupid it is. Because if this movie took itself seriously, I would really have to roll my eyes. There's not a moment in this movie that I really cared about these characters. Not really. There's only there are two characters I cared about, but what happens with them, it's just like, well, fuck, man, I don't even care about that. So, in the end, I would give Army of the Dead probably a 5.5. Or maybe a 6. To be generous, I'd give it 6. But it's more of a 5.5. It's an average movie. It's an okay movie. The fight sequences are fun. When they're happening, the fight sequences are fun. Most of the characters are just cookie cutter, you know, just whatever characters. In the end, even the entire plot of the movie doesn't, like, nothing makes sense in the movie. Most of the things, if you think about it for 5 seconds, don't make sense. Even when it comes to the end of the movie, you're just like, all that for this? Like, the payoff just wasn't worth it. You know, it is what it is, man. I know one thing. I think Dawn of the Dead is much better than this. Dawn of the Dead is heads and shoulders better than this zombie movie. Zack Snyder, I thought he was going to do more Dawn of the Dead, and he kind of went a different direction with it. But anyways, thank you guys for my Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.